Hello, trading has closed on July 29th, 2025. As always, we start with our disclaimer, go over our calls, and then make our predictions. It's my trading plan for Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Remember, my plan can be wrong, my plan can change, and trade at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early low. That's this. Tomorrow also has the early low. We said the commonest thing was a gap and prompt move outside yesterday's range. We got that. We had a target, 6401.08. That printed. Here's support, here's resistance. All that's worked. This is what we said. We got the gap and prompt move outside the day's range. Tomorrow has the really low. The Woodson turn date was yesterday, but he bases this on futures prices, not cash, and the high in futures still was yesterday. So for now at least, his date is still working. MEJT says this drop isn't going to stick, gives us a target of 63.8532, and unless we gap down tomorrow, which is always possible, unless we gap down significantly tomorrow, that's my call. Don't forget, when you're this close to an all-time high, MEJT likes to leave a failed price target. That certainly could be one, but we had this big drop, and then we closed over all these lows. If that's maintained, we don't know if it'll be maintained, but if that's maintained, that's a rejection of the break to new lows. It means for hours, despite a negative market for hours, it couldn't get anywhere. Now, again, it all changes tomorrow if we open way down here, but that hasn't happened yet, and I think it's against the rules, against what I think will happen. If we have a big move before the FOMC announcement, people tend to keep their cards hidden until we get the announcement, and then all you know what breaks loose. Well, here's our dilemma. We have this significant channel, a big trend line. You connect these, we've hit that any number of times. And in spite of this big rally, we just can't break through that line. Here we have a reversal. But we also have a target around 64.78, and something's got to give. Either you're going to break through this line and hit this target, or you're going to drop down, and that's not going to work. So would make a clearer picture for me if we went up, hit the target, and then broke, but I don't always get what I want. Right now we have two usually reliable things which aren't saying the same thing. So what about this break from today? Let's go to a smaller time frame. Well, this is a significant trend line, and we certainly broke it. And that's negative. But we broke it in a straight line drop, and usually you're going to return. When you break it in a straight line drop, before too much time passes, you're going to usually return to this line. Sometimes you only go as far as the point of the break. But even though this looks pretty grim, usually, I'll say not always, you're going to return to that line. Now, if we open down here and start dropping, I'm not going to cross my fingers and hope we hit it. But that's what usually, not always, is going to happen when you break it in a straight line. And what adds credence to that is that we couldn't go under these lows and that we have a higher target. I'm a little bit leery of playing the long side here. I'm certainly not long overnight, and I'm going to be flat going into FOMC announcement tomorrow. But I don't want to jump the gun in a strong bull market and get short too soon. There's a real chance we move up tomorrow. Wednesday's pattern has a really low regardless of where we open. Typically it's a rally day with a high and a final hour, but if it's weak, the more weakness follows. There's a higher MEJT target. Unless we gap down significantly, the rules call for it to print. Just remember, there's a higher incidence of failure when we're this close to an all-time high. Now, the FOMC report comes out at 2 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow tends to lead to large swings, which I can't predict with any degree of accuracy. You can get some pretty big moves after these things, and there are guys I see on the internet who brag about how much money they've made on these big moves. I am not one of those people. If I get those wild swings, I tend to wait till things quiet down because I just can't predict with a great degree of accuracy what's going to happen. I like to wait till all the odds are on my side. I just don't tend to play these. That being said, it is bearish. We're banging our head against a strong trend line. The VX over VIX trend line is broken. Usually marks the top, and the all-time high print was followed by a negative close. But the volatility index has reversed through its lower Bollinger Band. That gives a buy signal, which can be reversed if we drop tomorrow. NASDAQ McClellan oscillator is under its lower band. It hasn't reversed yet, but if it does, that gives a buy. And I just don't see a wave count saying this rally's over. Just because I don't see one doesn't mean it isn't there. But it would make a lot clearer picture for me if we had one more fling higher. I just can't say it's required, and I'm going to be flat going into FOMC. Certainly, if we get one more fling higher, particularly up to 64.78, which seems quite a ways off, I'd probably short it with a very close stop. And we certainly could drop right from here because of sentiment indicators. But as far as tomorrow's concerned, I might not trade at all because of FOMC. If I do trade, I'll be flat going into the announcement. I think if we don't gap down, we're going to see 63.85.32. And if we do gap down and we start to drop, I'm going to probably forget the rest of the analysis because in terms of time that is, not necessarily price, we should be very close to the top here. I'm just not totally convinced we've seen it. It's a pattern with the early low, and that's today's call.